Shalom. We're starting today with a new Torah portion, V'yetchanan. That means, and he pleaded. It's a storyline of Moses pleading with Yahweh to enter the promised land. Then it goes through chapter 5 with the repeating of the 10 commandments. And then it ends, I think, in chapter 7. Anyway, there's 7 topics within this parasha, 9 topics within this parasha. And what's interesting is that the middle one, the center one, is about the 10 commandments. Now, if you haven't listened to the explanation regarding the menorah is the pattern to show us balanced truth, where the middle branch is the most important branch. Now, the reason is that Mashiach, Yeshua, is also referred to as the branch. And we know that's the middle branch, and everything is about him. All the festivals can be placed upon the menorah pattern as well, where the middle branch is Shavuot, which is about the Torah and about the outpouring of the Spirit on the day where the 3,000 came to faith and the tongues of fire came upon their heads and they spoke in different languages. Now, I've I prepared this slide for next Sabbath's teaching on that topic, just overlaying 3 different events. Now, it's found in Deuteronomy 5, where Moses speak to the new generation, and in the prophetic picture, they are still east of the Jordan. They haven't crossed the Jordan yet. And in the prophetic sense, he's speaking to the last generation. So the new generation is the last generation that need this message, and that is us. Now, what Moses is saying, as it was on Mount Cheref, which is another word for Herop, Mount Herop or Mount Sinai, which is the mountain of the sword. Why is it the mountain of the sword? Why did he change the language? Because the second coming of Mashiach is where he will come as the commander, the king will come and conquer his enemies with a 2-edged sword. Now, the 2-edged sword is founded upon the mountain of the sword, which is the 10 commandments. So those commandments, or the 10 words, are also referred to as the covenant in Deuteronomy 5. And that's the premise of the words and the judgment that Yahweh will speak against the nations, by which he will judge the nations upon the 10 commandments. Why do you think is that? It's because every country in this world, whatever culture, have a lot of the aspects that is within the 10 commandments embedded within their fundamental legal system. No one wants you to murder, to steal, to take someone else's wife, or to kill. And all those are found in the last tablet, or the last 5 commandments. The first commandments are the ones that's a bit grey, where people do not recognize Yahweh Elohim, who led the people out of Egypt. That's identifying him. They don't adhere to not to make any graven images. They still bow down to graven images. They do not adhere and keep the Sabbath, and they do not respect their elders. The first set of commandments are broken by the majority of the nations and the people who will live in the last generation. The second set of commandments are found in the ground legal system, or the fundamental legal system. It's also a moral conduct that's built into each and every one of us that we normally abide to if you're not evil. So Yahweh will bring the nations to judgment based on the 2-edged sword. The one edge is the first set of commandments, and the second edge is the second set of 5 commandments. And that's the premise of him speaking to the last generation. So the first judgment, as we discovered last week, will be against the house the household of Yahweh, the sons of Belial, the ones who preach lawlessness. They've altered the day, they've altered the commandments, they took away the idea of identifying Yahweh as someone who is Lord of the Sabbath. They changed the Messiah to a different image, and they worship a wrong image of Mashiach. And that is where the lawlessness and the mixing and confusion come into. And they will receive a greater judgment. Now that's the picture of Moshe pleading before Yahweh. He's a leader, and he made a mistake. And Moses probably said, Lord, Lord, have I not done great miracles in your name? Have I not taught your Torah? But Yahweh said, no, you will not come in, because you've not obeyed me fully. So those who teach, those who preach, those who claim to be prophets will get a greater judgment, just like Moshe received a greater judgment, and he could not enter the promised land. Now, did Moses make it at the end? Yes. That links us to Mount Hermon that we looked at last time. Some believe it's Mount Tabor, but I think it's Mount Hermon, where the transfiguration took place, where Moses and Elijah were side to side with Mashiach. And that in itself is a mountain, Mount Cherev or Mount Sinai experience, with yet again a menorah pattern with Mashiach in the middle. He is the truth. How is the truth defined? By the balance between Torah and the prophets. So I know a lot of people who done away with the Torah, they don't teach it, and they don't even regard the prophets at all. They just cling on to the middle branch. Then there's some of the Messianics who teach the Torah, but they don't want anything to do with the prophets. And one great teacher that I know refused to teach the book of Revelation. He refused to teach about the prophecies and how to interpret them within our generation, which I think is important from my point of view. So there are lots of Messianics who do not understand the prophets, and they only stand on the Torah. I know our Jewish brothers do the same. They don't. There's a couple of them who are starting to wake up, who start to teach end times and the coming of Mashiach, which is good because they bring the prophets back into balance. So we need to teach the fullness of the message of Mashiach, which is, he is the truth, he's the light, that's the middle branch. He is the Torah, that's Moshe, and he is the prophets, Elijah. Every topic pertaining to the Torah, it is in him. Every topic pertaining to the prophets, including the Moedim, because they are prophetic of nature, is about Elijah, and collectively represents Mashiach. And we as little Mashiachs or Christians or Messianics, we need to have a balanced truth, preaching the balance between prophets and the Torah to this last generation. So I'll leave you with those few words. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon. Shalom.